these are the kinds of things we wanted to bring up. And also we wanted to give you a little behind the scenes, just what we do to earn our keep, because we actually we're out there trying to represent others,
our listeners,
our supporters.
And make an impact on the culture war that we face every day.
In line with what you just said, there's a song that says, ere you left your house this morning, did you stop to pray? And that seems important to me because it's like saying the first thing is to talk with God.
Amen.
And then you can have breakfast and you can drive to work and you can do a lot of things. But the number one thing is to get in touch with God and to pray. It says, ere you left your house this morning, did you stop to pray? Did you ask the Lord to bless you or to guide you and keep you safe throughout the day? In other words, it said, did you put the things of God first before you took off for work? It seems like that's an important thing. And then the other is a verse of scripture in Jude, the 3rd verse, and it says, contend for the faith. Contend for the faith. There are a lot of people in this state that are trying to get rid of Christianity. Those are the ones that took prayer and the Bible and 10 Commandments and creation science and kicked them all out of our public schools. And they have lots and lots of money, like you were talking about Virginia and how Bloomberg went in there and just desecrated Christianity by saying, oh, well, we're going to take all the weapons and you're not going to be able to defend yourself or your family anymore. And we're going to take over.
The one thing they fear, the legislators, that is
an armed people.
No, I wasn't going to say that. They might fear that too. But I was going to say they fear losing their office.
And that's why everyone listening to the program today is key in this war that we're fighting every single day, like you were saying.
That's true. That's true. And it's also true that you can be a multiplying voice. You may be just one listener, but you may talk to 10 different people or 20 different people and help inform and help them understand what's going on.
Now, Cindy, what happened yesterday that we were working on that was very important about that bill that passed the House yesterday?
I at first kind of add on to what you said, how they're taking out Christianity. And here's a good example. Our Governor Brashear, and we thought it was yesterday, but I didn't see any homosexual activists down there. But wasn't it supposed to be a meeting there tomorrow? But he has agreed now that they're girls, but they're transgendered boys into girls, but they're still boys, now can participate in girls' sports in Kentucky. He is signing a bill for that. Of course, I don't think it's going to get passed with the Senate, but
just introducing a bill?
Yes, it was in post, actually on your Facebook post. I saw that early this morning. So that's scary to think that he has gone so far to the left that it's okay. To me, that's not fair to girls.
Absolutely not.
And then, of course, we have the bill.
Explain that a little more. These are boys that want to participate in girls' sports.
Yeah, because they think that being a girl today, or they're transgender, which means they haven't done an operation, sex change, and even if they had, they're still a boy because all the DNA would still be there. You can't take out your DNA. But they're just people who are transgender, which means it's a flowing flex. It's a mindset. Like, I'm a girl now. I'm going to dress up like a girl, but you can clearly tell that they're boys. That's very unfair to the girls' sports. And where are the women's movements? Where are the women's movements saying, taking up for women's sports?
That tells you something, doesn't it? They don't object to really women being discriminated against. They say, oh, we're for women, but yet when push comes to shove, they like it or they go along with it.
That's pushing Christianity out because that is non-biblical. God created every human being in his image, either man or woman. So now let's go to House Bill 136, medical marijuana. And it was amazing to see how it was really sad. I was shocked that many voted for it on the Republican side. It was like 63 to 27 or something like that. 62 maybe to 28. I don't know. But I was only thinking they were going to barely get over the hump and be 51 or 2 to 40 something, but it wasn't. And I was so disappointed in our legislators in Frankfort.
To me, there's a tremendous lesson in that. And the lesson is you can't depend on a political party to promote righteousness.
That's right.
Some of these people, even though they call themselves Republicans, they're going along with the anti-God movement. Full steam ahead. It's terrible. And like John was saying, we got to have everybody call their legislators and stand up for truth. John, this so-called medical marijuana is a very, very, very bad bill, recreational marijuana.
And it can lead to psychosis.
Oh,
all
absolutely.
kinds of things. Doubles the rates of fatalities for roads and stuff. But also,
yes.
Not just in the roads, but also in the businesses. And I believe I heard Zach, our cameraman, he was explaining this just earlier. Just think about it. We're talking about insurance. It's going to increase the insurance costs.
Oh, wow. Good point.
It's not only for cars, but also for all these businesses and stuff. If I'm a forklift driver and I'm paid, now I'm going to have more insurance paid to cover the possibility that I have workers out there who might actually
have a medical car. They're getting a car. They can get a car, but you have to get it through the doctor. But here's what bothered me about it all. I listened to the whole thing until they voted for it. And they kept going on how concerned they were about the patient.
Oh.
Well, if they were so concerned, they had all these stories. And don't get me wrong, I'm not belittling their personal stories that they had with their families that needed this. I'm not saying that. And if it does help someone, then let's go through like we do with the other drugs. You get in the FDA, you go through the doctor, you go to your pharmacist, not having every corner in our small towns in America having dispensaries that says medical marijuana here, because that will only lead to eventually having brownies, candies, and everything, and recreational.
Well, the important thing is that the American Medical Association has said there is absolutely no study ever been done that indicates that medical marijuana does any good for anything. Is that right?
That's what the information we've gotten. We've verified some of this information.
Yeah.
And I understand there's always going to be a need to deal with pain and different things. We do our citizens harm because we just allow anything and everything. I mean, there's a purpose for government.
There have been lots of studies done on new pain medicines of different kinds. So they go into a hospital where people have had an operation, appendicitis, a back disc fixed, or all kinds of surgeries. They obviously have pain. And they say, well, here's your pain shot. And they give them a shot of water. And the patient say, oh, that's helped me so much. Oh, I'm so glad you gave me that shot. And they don't realize that it's water. This is what you call a placebo effect. And there's a huge placebo effect. So somebody comes in and says, oh, my Aunt Matilda had the bad pain and they gave her marijuana and she got wonderfully better. Well, that's just irrelevant because everyone gets better if you give them a little water and say, oh, this is your pain shot. And they say, oh, if they believe in the doctor or the nurse or whoever's giving them the medicine, oh, that helped me so much. Well, it's just a placebo effect. And everybody is helped by everything, even a little shot of water. And this is what they ran the show with yesterday, I believe. My Aunt Matilda had this terrible pain, and they gave her some marijuana, and it made her feel so good. That's irrelevant.
I'm sorry, Cindy. I don't mean to step on you there. I was just going to say, I watched just a police testimony from 2017.
16.
This is just posted in 17.
Okay.
The thing about it is, not one of these people who were testifying was for it, and they gave the reasons why they weren't for it.
They have to deal with the aftermath of the people
Yes, they have to deal with the aftermath.
Driving, stealing, hurting people. And
psychotic.
Well, let's not underestimate, because you're a doctor. You prescribe certain medicines to help people.
Right.
So we're not saying there's not real pain and there's not not pain management. When you take any kind of pain medicine, whether these people who say they've done medical marijuana or morphine. I've had that once after I had one child, and I wouldn't take it again because I didn't want to get hooked on it. But it is good. It does help. I think it all boils down to if they really were concerned about the patient and not letting it get into the system, society, we don't need dispensaries. Just do it just like you normally do with the pharmacies. But see, they won't have anything to do with that.
See, in order for someone to say marijuana is helpful for pain or headache whatever, they've got to do what they call a double-blind study. So they take 1,000 people or 100 people and give all that have migraine headaches or whatever the problem is, and they give half of them the medicine and the other half they don't. And you wait like a year or 6 months and see which one is improving. You don't tell them what they're getting. You don't tell, oh, you're getting marijuana.
And you're getting the placebo.
And you're getting the placebo. They say you're getting bottle 1764327. And the other one's getting bottle 6754328 or something. Everything is by a number. You don't tell them what they're getting.
If you look at this bill, for instance, this bill is 160 pages. That right there tells you a whole lot.
There's something wrong.
It tells you that they're building a 6-lane or 8-lane highway to serve a small percentage of the population.
Well, I would just say that it's important to realize that this bill was passed basically by Republicans.
Yes.
And it could not have been passed without them.
Could not have been passed without the Republicans. And we say, oh, well, we need Republicans. Well, that's well and good, but it's not enough. You got to stay on top of what's going on and tell these Republicans, hey, we want you to do what's right and not get sucked into all of the propaganda that everybody else gets sucked in.
The ravenous wolves, lies, they're just getting caught in with their rhetoric. I'm concerned, then so be it. These people who all signed on it, including some of them that I'm very, very fond of. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's several that I know personally. I would say that if you continue the road you're going, and there's the gambling bills coming up, which they're stagnant this year, they're not going anywhere, but still they've got a lot of Republicans on those as well. God just may not allow you to win again. Thinking, hopefully we won't get the Democrats to swing back to the House again. They're just being sucked into the compassionate. Like Stan Lee stood up there. I'm compassionate for these people too. Chris Fugit, he was another legislator that stood up and he said, let's do it, go through the proper channels we do, and then if it becomes where it does help people, put it in the regular system like we do now. But they said, well, look at opioid. Look what it all is done. Was because they were prescribed by doctors who gave them too many, and or they got hooked on it. It's a personal responsibility too.
And also the other thing is when they took prayer out of the public schools, they opened the door for all these drug addicts to come in. It's terrible. So you can't let people run away with propaganda and get sucked into all this propaganda. Marijuana does not do anything for any medical condition. It's been proven, and there's no studies to say that marijuana does anything medically because they've never done what you call objective study.
And it may relieve pain, and it may do that. I can't say that it doesn't, but all I know is it needs to be done like you're saying with the double-blind study and put in the system, because all it boils down to is money. Because they're worried about, like John, I loved it when he said, they're worried about the green stuff, not the green little hemp plant or the cannabis plant. They're worried about the money that they can make.
I tell you, I'm so glad you were there, Cindy. So glad John was keeping an eye on all this and all the other things that are going on.
This is just a sample of what we do. We are looking at as many of these bills as we can. You would not believe how a bill might be okay, and then right at the last second,
they change it.
Yeah, something gets slipped in. On the other hand, something gets taken out.
It's called a committee substitute when they totally change a bill around. Here's the one that I'm concerned about, talking about Christianity taken out by the left. And if anybody on the right who voted for this bill, to me, you're playing into the devil's hands. I'm sorry. And I'm going to be really bold. I hate to say that rhetoric. I hate to be this bold, but we were listening to Keith Smith. Now they have this bill. It's called Senate Bill 85. The companion bill in the House is House Bill 199. And it's called the Conversion Therapy Bill is how it's been dictated. It's not gone anywhere. It's still in the licensed occupations on January 17th. And then same thing in the House. It's in the Health and Family Services. But this is the kind of stuff that the culture war we're fighting, because what it does, if I'm a mental health professional and I'm a Christian therapist, say at University of Kentucky, University of Louisville, if a person comes in that says, I'm homosexual, but I really want to get out of that lifestyle, you're not allowed to tell them and say that it's a sin, it's abnormal. First off, that takes your First Amendment right off. And second off, I pay the taxes, whether I get paid by state fund or not, I'm still paying my taxes. And my First Amendment right doesn't stop when I walk in a government building.
That's right.
My understanding of it is it wouldn't be just a religious presentation. It would also cover educational studies or whatever. You could not present the other side of that to the
detriment of that lifestyle.
Yes.
Wow. It goes deeper than just
it goes
that.
even deeper.
Yeah.
So in other words, are you going to get AIDS or you're not going to get AIDS? You got to explain things to them because their life is on the line. And they're saying, oh, no, you can't explain that to the person.
Well, then you don't need Christian therapists.
Exactly. Here's a number if one of our listeners want to call in, 571-0970. That's the call-in number. The area code's 502. If you'd like to make a comment about what we're talking about, we'd like to hear from you right now. Area code 502-571-0970. So you call in, tell us what your thoughts are. Let me say another thing. You see this paper here? Can I hold that up? This is a tremendous thing that Cindy has put together and maybe some other people. And this is a list of all the key bills that are being voted on in Frankfort as we're speaking. And you need to call your toll-free number, 1-800-372-7181, and tell them you want more abortion or you don't want more abortion. You want more marijuana or you don't want more. You want children taught pornography in the public schools with your tax money or you don't want pornography. These are all important bills that, in addition to the ones we've already talked about, that are on the legislature and they're going to be voted on. And you need to get this and you need to make copies and show it to everybody in your church.
Yeah, and whether they be voted on this session or not, they're going to come back. The devil never stops. The devil never stops.
The number to call, again, is 502-895-5025.
And give them this number too, Dr. Simon, to call Frankfort.
Let me give you the number to call to get this paper. It's 895-5025. You just call that number, and if nobody answers the phone, just leave your name, address, and phone number, and we'll send it out to them.
Do we happen to have this on our website so then we can give them this 800 number? Do you know if we have it on our website yet?
Well, maybe we can put it on.
Okay, we'll put it on our website, and then they can call 372 number, 7181.
Let me give you that. Cindy is exactly right. 1-800-372-7181. That's the message line in Frankfort. If you call that, you don't need to know anything else. You don't need to know who your state representative is or your state senator. Yeah. They'll tell you all of that when they ask you for your address and you give them the address. They'll tell you all of that. So all you need to know is I'm pro-life and I want to leave a message for my legislators to vote pro-life. Boom. That's all you need to say, and that will change the world. Tell them whatever you want to tell them. I don't want more gambling, more and more gambling. Mm-hmm. We've already got too much gambling already. I don't want any more gambling. The sanctuary bill, in other words, they want for the police not to work with the federal government to stop murderers.
Or illegal people coming in causing problems.
Yeah, all kinds of things. So if you're against illegal aliens coming in here and robbing you and driving drunk through the streets and killing your children, if you don't want that to happen, boom, you ought to tell them, hey.
We're against sanctuary city.
Sanctuary city.
And that's Senate Bill 1.
Senate Bill 1. See, so all of these things we're talking about, the important stuff is right on this page. Cindy made this all out, and all of the important bills are right here. You need to get this out to everyone in your church.
And this is really dear to my heart is comprehensive sex education. At first, remember, I kind of disagree with you. You called it pornography, but it is.
All the way down.
To kindergarten.
Kindergarten?
Yes. It starts in kindergarten in age-appropriate verbiage. But the point is, I was talking to you, pornography is actually watching sex. Pornography can stem to actually putting ideals in a young child's mind to talk about sex.
Can you remember that? Can you think of that?
Or fourth graders putting on a condom. That's ridiculous.
Oh, brother. But they're going to do that if you don't call them. They're going to have kindergarten, 4 years old. Is that it? 4 years old?
5.
5-year-old.
Not only that, they're also bringing in this whole concept of, are you a boy?
Yes.
Are you a girl? Are
yeah.
you something else?
Maybe you're not a boy.
We've mentioned this before, but we've actually had an incident in the local area where a little child, committed suicide because they thought that they were going to change magically overnight. That's
crazy. Need to call this number right now and get this list of bills and get calling. And everyone in your church and everyone in your neighborhood, we need to get with it because we don't want to fall asleep at the switch and let the anti-God people take over our children. So the number to call right now is area code 502-895-5025. Tell them you want the list of bills.
And Dr. Simon, I want to bring this up. People get real sensitive about, you shouldn't put this. We got a Democrat governor. We got a Republican governor. We had a Republican governor who stopped a lot of this.
Exactly.
But we don't have that now.
Oh, boy.
And so
That's right.
don't. It's very important now for you to talk to your legislators because that is who it's going to be stopped
because
by.
Obviously they've been swayed. Republicans in the House. Since Bashir's been in, we've had the Muslims with their first day. And then we've had the transgender people there saying it's okay for boys, and they're clearly looking boys. I saw the picture. They look just like boys, but they're dressed like girls. They can do in neutral dress in their clothing, but you can tell they're boys, and they can compete in girls' things.
Absolutely.
So this is what's been going on just in a couple months.
You need to call right now, get this list of bills with a few words to explain it, and call 502-895-5025. And it's time to wake up. It's time to wake up. It's time to take our children back,
Amen.
Our country back. They took God out of our schools, but we still have to pay for the schools, even though they're atheist schools or humanistic schools. And I think
we're going to bring God back.
We got to bring God
yes.
back. We appreciate John Brewer, Pastor John Brewer, Sister Cindy Marlow.
Miss Revere here.
We appreciate these guys, all of you. We appreciate each one of you. The guys listen to this program, they're the ones that are going to take our country back.
Yes.
Amen.
They're the ones. If it's going to be taken back, they're the ones that are going to do it. Tune in again next week for the rest of the news. Hey, this is Frank Simon with the rest of the news, and we have an outstanding program with Corbin Seavers, and we hope to have Senator Ralph Alvarado call in. Is he in yet? No, he hasn't called in. Well, anyway, Corbin, what are we going to talk about?
Well, we've got several things here, Doc. He wants to go over budget and something called here scholarship tax credit. And, of course, you got a few things here, too. I think we should definitely get to.
I heard about that last night, that they're trying to help get underprivileged people scholarships so they can go to a good school instead of the public school.
Ties in with this whole thing about the student loan debt stuff and this whole debate about we're going to ban that. Is the government just going to take over, eliminate student loan debt? There are ways that people can affordably get through college and university. Just a matter of that family doing that research.
I don't guess anyone has called in yet. I'm anxious to hear what the senator has to say about surprise billing and all of these things.
And there's some other things here I wasn't aware of. I think there's one bill that makes female mutilation a felony. A lot of people may not know, Christians may not know, Sharia law does allow for a woman to be mutilated. It does happen. It not only happens in other countries.
Now, expanded gambling bills, fantasy online sports wagering, they're trying to push that through. Comprehensive sex education, that's like pornography, teaching children how to use condoms and all that stuff.
Doc, I'm always suspicious, flat out suspicious of anybody, any adults want to insist on trying to go into such explicit sexual education to children. That is not the government's role. Speaking as a parent, we handle that. It's not the government's role to do that. It's like this situation with the Boy Scouts, gay men who said, hey, want to be a scout and all that other kind of stuff. Well, why are you as a grown man wanting to share a pup tent with a young boy? I don't get that. And now you see where the Boy Scouts are at right now. I think they're hop, skipping, and jump from being bankrupt because of all these lawsuits that come from young boys who are molested.
No kidding. The Boy Scouts.
The Boy Scouts, yes.
Now they've got another Boy Scouts that's not into homosexuality.
I'm not familiar with that, but what I often say to Christians is that if that's what they want to do in the Boy Scouts, then we need to start our own type.
Well, that's what they've done. What is it called?
Now, I know they've done something similar. Some Christian groups have gotten together with the young ladies. They've started their own thing.
Oh, other than Girl Scouts.
Other than the Girl Scouts. And they started their own thing. It's a free society, and if they want to do that, that's fine. As a parent, I think it's irresponsible to allow your child into doing something like that, but that's on them.
Well, see, and a lot of this is getting into the bills here in Frankfort, like the gambling, all these bad things that are coming up.
I notice here we got something here with voter ID bill. Pretty common sense to me. I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
I think the opposition to that is that somehow or another it suppresses minority voting. I don't quite understand that.
Well, it doesn't.
I've got an ID on me right now. You want to see it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got it. You go to Speedway or Thornton's or Kroger, and if you don't look like you're around 40-some years old, you got to pop out an ID before you get that deuce and a quarter. And cigarettes. I really just don't understand how you can call that voter suppression.
They've shown that when they put through the ID bill requiring an ID to vote, that the voting actually went up, not down. So I'm wondering about the marijuana bill. They're trying to legalize marijuana. It's a bad idea. Killed on the highways and always a lot more wrecks. And of course, marijuana causes people to go crazy, psychotic. So they hear voices, feel that somebody's trying to kill them all the time.
In my day, when I was a young man, the guys who I knew were using marijuana, it made them very tranquil, very laid back. Once they sort of came off the high, they would go to the grocery store and just buy bags of stuff.
Of what?
Just food.
Oh,
really? Gave them what they call the munchies. But this marijuana is out now. I don't know what the heck they put in it, but it's not the type of stuff that
makes you
back
tranquil.
in the day, it's totally different. Same thing with the heroin. A lot of famous jazz artists at one time were addicted to heroin.